Hold on 1 second, guys. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. What a pain in the butt. Let me get this shit ready. Okay. All right. All right, let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Go Nintendo Podcast, Webisode 602, the Tynamo Podcast. Tynamo is an electric-type Pokemon introduced in Generation 5. It evolves into I Can't Tell You, which evolves into I Can't Tell You. Tynamo is a short, white, eel-like Pokemon with dark oval eyes and a red 4-point star-shaped mouth. A wavy yellow stripe runs along its body, which has a long fin membrane, giving it a tapered shape. Tynamo has an organ that generates electricity, which it discharges when in danger. A single Tynamo does not generate much power, so groups of Tynamo move in schools and create a more powerful shock. The Pokemon Company merchandise artwork and several trading card game illustrations depict Tynamo swimming in or leaping out of bodies of water. Tynamo is number 602. It's a 50-50 male to female ratio. It is it's 8 centimeters. And you can't teach that. There you go. That's your Pokemon. Again, my apologies to people that were trying to get in on this live. I have no idea why, but the Hangout wouldn't go live. It would just sit at 99% and sit and sit and sit and sit. I don't know what happened. So I restarted my computer, and that didn't work. And I restarted the Hangout, and that didn't work. And I just scrapped everything and started the same way. So there you go. All right. So today, obviously, I have news if you want me to talk about news. But also, I'm here to talk about some Switch impressions and Legend of Zelda impressions, as long as you guys want. If you are watching now live, you can ask me questions in the GoNintendo IRC, which I have right here, or you can ask me on the YouTube chat, which I have right here. So if you got questions, you go ahead and ask them. If you don't, I'll talk about my impressions in general. Obviously, you guys are going to ask some questions that I'm not allowed to answer. I have my embargo sheet here. It's, let's see, 1, 2, 3 sheets long of embargo stuff that I can't talk about. Obviously, I can talk about some of that stuff. Jacob, you can, the link for the IRC is on GoNintendo. It's at the very top. On, what is it? March 2nd? Don't quote me on that, but I think it's March 2nd. The reviews for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild can go live, so I'll be able to talk about a lot more. Pretty much we can talk about whatever we want then, but I'm not going to spoil things for you. My review will be spoiler-free. It'll have more detail, obviously, but it'll be spoiler-free. All right, so let me see if you got some questions about this stuff. Let me see. What's the Link Triforce says, what's the craziest thing you've done in the game that you can talk about? Let me think, because there's been a lot of crazy moments. So I found an encampment of bokoblins or bokoblins, however you want to say it. Oh, by the way, it's only me on the show today. Mom Brain is in Florida. R-Type and Vitamin G are at a hockey game. And I told Kirby it's just going to be me blabbing on about Switch and stuff like that. So I'd feel bad if you were sitting here. You don't have to come and watch that. So I figured I'd go solo today. But anyway, craziest moment. So I was going up on an enemy encampment, and it was full of enemies that were much tougher than me. Basically, one hit from them kills me, and I had 5 hearts, and that includes an arrow or anything. One hit from them kills me. So, you know, because I'm an idiot, I'm like, I'm gonna do this anyway. I'm gonna try and take it on. So I'm sneaking around the side of a mountain quietly, and the one lookout doesn't see me. There's 2 more lookouts way higher up above on the mountain, but they're so high up that they can't see me either. So I'm sneaking around, and I take out the one lookout, and nobody heard them, so things are going great. And I sneak around the mountain a little more, and I see another lookout, and I'm on a ledge above him, and he's down here. So I jump down and do a downward sword stab into his head and kill him, and he's dead. I had a really powerful sword. It's not the Master Sword. I can't even talk about that, but I don't want you to think it was. But it was just a really powerful sword, so I was taking that out to kill the enemies. So I took that guy out, and then I'm making my way up a little bit more, and I see another ledge with a guy. And just as I'm climbing up this mountain, so I'm like on the side of like a sheer cliff. Just as I'm going for the climb, it starts to rain, and if it rains, the cliffs get slippery, and you can't get a grip, so you can climb for a little bit, and then you slide down, and climb for a little bit, and slide down. So I was very carefully making my way over based on how I was sliding. And I got to the platform, and it's like torrential downpours. It is really, really raining. And I'm like, oh, I know I got to be careful if there's rain, because with lightning, I could get hit by lightning. So I'm like, I got to be careful. So I'm like, I'm putting away my sword. I'm not going to be dumb. So I put away my sword, and I'm like, I'm good to go. I take out like a club, and I'm beating the bad guy up with a spiked club, and we're in like a super serious fight. Like I said, one hit and I'm dead. So I'm dodging and doing the flurry attacks and all that stuff, and I kill him, and I'm like, oh man, that was a hell of a fight. And as I'm doing that, I start to like see like green sparkles around Link. And I'm like, what's going on? How am I attracting lightning? Because, like I said, I had the club with spikes on it, but they were like bone spikes. So I was, so I'm standing there. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And right at the last second, I realized, oh, my shield is made out of metal. And right when I went to change it, I got struck by lightning and just flew across the landscape dead. My body was just flying through the air. And I was like, oh, man, you know, I snuck around. I was there for a long time. It was a good 30 minutes of me really taking my time to try and sneak into this place where I was going to get my ass kicked. And then I got killed by lightning, which really sucks. But that's one of the craziest moments. But the whole game's full of crazy moments. I mean, the crazy feeling in general is, hey, look at that thing over there. Oh, I can go do that if I want to. You just... everything you see, you can go to. You might get yourself killed, but you can go wherever you want. I spent so much time just wandering without doing even the first mission. Well, not the first mission. What can I talk about? Let me see. Well, it says first 5 hours I can talk about. So yeah, like the Great Plateau stuff, I finished up what you can do there, and then I just went out and wandered forever into territory where I shouldn't have been. Yeah, Blake Morris says, should you upgrade hearts or stamina? Yeah, you definitely should, because like I said in my video, these guys mean serious business. Or mean business. That's the phrase. These guys mean serious business. These guys mean business. You will easily get killed. I went into this completely wrong, expecting it to be like other Zelda games as far as enemies go. Totally wrong. Totally wrong. Like I said, you might see enemies you recognize, but you are going to get your ass kicked. I guarantee it. You're going to die. If you think you're not going to die, you're going to die. If you go into the game trying not to die, you're going to die. I don't know. Even the most determined person should have a very good challenge of not trying to die once in the entire game, because it's so big and you get ambushed and there's so much stuff going on and so many things you don't expect. You know, once you play through the game a couple times and you know what to expect and where not to go and what not to do, then maybe you'll be able to get through the game without dying, but that's going to be with a lot of practice. Patrick Ovson says, what kind of wildlife have you seen so far? That's a good question. Let me see if I can talk about that. Yeah, I can talk about that. All right, so what have I seen? I've seen all kinds of birds, all different kinds of birds, like hawks, and I've heard owls, but I haven't seen them, but I always hear them, and they're in trees, and it's funny that this comes up because whenever I'm standing by trees at night, I can hear owls, and I get like close to the patch of trees where I think the owls are. And I got so frustrated with not being able to find it that I just started chopping down trees. And once I chopped down one of the trees, I heard like a fluttering noise. I'm like, well, I guess that was the one with the owl in it. I have Colma. If that's what they're, I've seen storks. So if that's what they're called, shoebill storks, then that's what I've seen. I've seen squirrels. I've seen like lizards / iguanas, whatever you want to call them. I've seen boars. I've seen bokoblins hunting boars. Like I've wandered upon an encampment where I was like hiding behind a tree, and there was a wild boar running around like one of their encampments, and the one bokoblin with a bow and arrow was standing up on his platform trying to pick it off, and another one was chasing it with a club. And that doesn't happen all the time. Like that wasn't a scripted event. That just happened to be what was going on at that moment. I've seen lots of bugs, so like lightning bugs and I want to say grasshoppers and stuff like that. Foxes. There's a lot of foxes. I've noticed foxes a lot while I'm running around. I haven't encountered an animal that tried to kill me. Wild boars are big, obviously, but they're more afraid of you than you are them. So if you get close, they'll more than likely run away. Trying to think of what other animals I've seen. I think that about covers it for right now. I'm sure I'm missing something. Frame rate says that, I think it said the Alibaba tree. Frame rate. So frame rate, by and large, is very steady. It's funny because right in the beginning of the game, the very start, when you walk out of where you're resurrected, and Link automatically runs out to the cliff, and it says Breath of the Wild. You run down to where the old man is, which you've seen a million times, and then you turn that corner, and it's a very like dense area, especially with grass and stuff like that. And there's a little frame rate hitch right there. And when I was playing, I was like, uh-oh. Is the whole game going to be like that? And since then, I've only ever had one other frame rate hitch. I don't know what it is about that one little area. It's maybe like 10 feet worth of space where you run through it. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't slow to a crawl. It just gets a little bit choppy, but you run right through it. But other than that, the other area, I couldn't even tell you, a million miles away in like a very deeply wooded area. And I was fighting 3 really big guys, not bosses, regular guys, but they're big. They're like 2.5 times the size of Link. I was fighting them in the middle of the trees and running around, and it had a hitch in the frame rate, but nothing bad at all. I'm reading both chats, Colma. Do dead horses explode in smoke? Says Lonk. So I don't want to admit this. My own horse. Can I talk about this? I think I can talk about it. Yeah. All right. So I haven't hit my own horse. I love my horse. I'm very happy with my horse. I was actually running out I was riding my horse out on a bridge at one point, and an enemy came up and went to attack me and hit my horse as well. My horse, I guess screamed, a horse neigh screamed. And it was the most heartbreaking moment of the whole game. I was like, you son of a bitch. And I jumped off the horse and ran for him and knocked him off the bridge. But I don't know. So I was going to say I'm embarrassed to admit, or ashamed to admit this, So I've come across an it was like, I want to say like 9 bokoblins on horses, and they were all like standing around, and I was in an area where I was going to get my ass kicked. Any one of these guys could have killed me in one hit, but I'm like, I'll do it anyway. So I had a bomb arrow, and I launched a bomb arrow right into the middle of the horses. So obviously the horses got hurt, and maybe one of them caught fire. That was terrible, but he didn't die. I don't remember seeing any horses die. I know they can die, but I don't remember seeing any horses die. They got hit, but they got up and ran away. So I don't know how much damage it takes to kill a horse. So I can't tell you if they explode in smoke, but they definitely get hurt and they can definitely die. So yeah, I'm not really a horse killer unless I'm thrown in that situation. And speaking of situations, I remembered another great one. I was up on the top of a mountain, and there was there was a whole bunch of bokoblins down by the water, and they were sitting in a circle around a campfire. And I was just watching them to think about how I was going to take them out. And to me, it looked like one of the bokoblins was talking to all the others, like he was telling a story, and he was like using his hands, and it looked like he was talking to the other ones, and the other ones were listening. And then like one would get up and like do a patrol and like look around and stuff like that. But it was pretty cool because it seemed like, they were just at night, like hanging out, taking it easy, telling stories to each other. And then I decided to take a bomb. Can I talk about that? I like how I say stuff, and then I'm like, can I talk about it? Yeah. I took a bomb and I rolled it down the hill, and it rolled right into the middle of the whole circle, and I just blew them all up. It's really satisfying. Palmer says, please tell me, I saw that you can mount a deer. I haven't done that. I've heard about that online, but I haven't done that. And you reminded me that I saw a deer. But yeah, I haven't done it. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you can ride a deer, right? It's not like Link's a big guy. You can ride a deer. Joy-Con issues, says Eddie Donuk, or Eddie Don UK. I haven't had a single Joy-Con issue, nor have the people that I've let play here, which are 1, 2, 3, 4 people have played. And I didn't say anything to them because I wanted to see if it came up organically. I have not had a single issue. They did not have an issue. And I don't know what the issue is. I saw Game Explain's video, obviously, and he showed putting it behind the back and covering it up with your hand and stuff like that. So I tried that on mine. No issues at all. And I tried it with both Joy-Cons. I tried it in the grip controller. Nothing. It never happened. Put it behind my back. Nothing happened. So I don't know what the cause is yet. I thought Andre's video was fantastic, showing, that there is an issue and you can replicate it. But I don't know why he's having the issue and I am not. And I don't know why some other press are having it and I'm not. I don't know if it has to do with distance between the Switch and your controllers or any other wireless interference going on. I mean, my game room is full of crap as far as other systems that are on and computers that are on, and wireless internet is in the room right next door. And there's something else I was going to say. But there's a whole bunch of stuff going on there, and I didn't have any issues. And like I said, maybe it has something to do with how far away you are from the Switch unit. Because in my game room, I'd say 5 feet. I'm 5 feet away. And I got up and moved to the back of my game room. And my game room's not huge. But from the back of my game room, I didn't have issues either. So I could not replicate it. I 100% agree that there are issues because I've heard about it from people. I've been on an email chain with Andre and some of the guys at Nintendo Force. And we've been talking about it and seeing what we can do and if we can replicate it and stuff like that. So I know other people have had it, and I know other people haven't had it. So I don't know what's causing it. We don't have a definitive answer right now, but the best information we have is from Game Explain. So we got to take that and go from there. You know, I don't know if it's an issue with the Joy-Cons themselves, like maybe a defect or something like that. I honestly don't know. I don't want to cause hysteria or cause worry because we don't know what the issue is. And I've heard from some people that are supposedly close to Nintendo that are like, Nintendo's going to put out. Oh, well, we know there's a day one update for the Switch, but people are like, that's going to fix it. I don't know. We don't know. The only thing we know is some people are having issues, some people aren't. So that's all I can tell you. But I have not had the issue. Jamie says, can you test if the Wii U LAN adapter works and fits in the Switch dock? I really need to know, as Wi-Fi is terrible. If it fits in the Switch dock. Oh, yeah, I get what you're saying. Well, it works. I know it works. I haven't used it, but I remember reporting on that before the Switch review unit showed up. I know it 100% works. It's just a USB LAN adapter because I have one. The one I've been using, the one I was using on my Wii U was the same one I've been using for my Wii, and it still works on the Switch. But will it fit in the dock? That's a good question. I'd have to look at it. There might be enough room to close the dock and keep it in there, but I don't know if you'd want to do that just because of heat and stuff like that. You could always leave the back of the dock open, or you could get a USB extender cable and do it that way. But I will check on that for you. I don't know. Sorry it took me so long to answer, Jamie. I saw you asked it a million times, but I will. I'll look into that for you. Mark D. Payne, I see that you're saying your questions are ignored. I didn't see what you said. Ask again, and I will let you. And I will give you an answer. Yeah, hold on. I see there's a conversation about arrows. I can tell you what arrows I can talk about. Here's the arrows I can talk about. Arrow. Fire arrow, ice arrow, electric arrow, and bomb arrow. Those are the arrows I can talk to you about. So if there's arrows you want to hear about, and it's one of those, then I can talk to you about them. Perrin, I don't know anything about the smartphone or voice chat yet. It's not like I'm under embargo or I'm hiding information. I know as much as you guys know with that. I don't want to ignore the other chat. All right. Randall, I'm not saying that. I can tell you right now, those are the arrows I have. I'll tell you that. Damn it, there was a question. Who said that? Spencer says, how is cooking? So cooking is pretty cool. As you know, you have to cook food or you have to eat food in this game. You don't go out and it's not like other Zelda games. You don't beat up enemies and get hearts, and you don't chop grass and find hearts. You have to eat food. So obviously there's plants that you can eat, and you can eat fish, and you can eat fruit, and you can eat meat, other meat. So you could go out and hunt a wild boar and eat that, or you could shoot down a bird and eat that. And the types of meat are different there. Like obviously bird meat and boar meat are different types of meat. It makes the distinction. And then what you do is you go to one of those, it's kind of like a cauldron. It's like a big stone bowl with a fire underneath it. And you walk up to it and you go into your menu and you have all your lists of foods and all that stuff. And you can put together any combination that you want. Any type of food or any type of item that goes into an elixir, you can mix it all together. Sometimes you'll find, like I found a book that told me, it told me about a food. I think it was a meal you can prepare to eat that makes it really good for traveling in cold areas, but it didn't tell you all the ingredients. It told you every ingredient but one, and you have to find out what the other one is. So you walk up to the cauldron thing, you pick the food you want to put in, and then you just drop it in there, and it cooks up, and then you see what you get. So I've done recipes, and I've done experiments. So I made my own dubious food, which actually saved my ass at one point. I just mixed in stuff together, and it came out dubious food, which doesn't taste good, but still gives you health. So you watch Link eat it like on the menu screen, and he really doesn't like it, but it gives you some hearts back. It says something like, this is dubious food. It's not going to taste good, but it probably won't hurt you, something like that. So you get hearts. And everything you eat, on the menu, it shows you how many hearts you'll get back from it. So like an acorn is like 1/4 of 1 heart. So not a lot, obviously. And then like cooked meat will do like, or semi-cooked meat, or raw, I don't remember what it is. Raw meat will give you like 1.5 hearts or something like that. But yeah, so like when I was going up into a cold area, I think they're called spicy peppers. I found like a bushel of spicy peppers, and I cooked all them. I cooked 5 of them. And I got something that let me run around in the cold for like 13 minutes, something like that, which was enough to do what I needed to do. And then you get a little timer on the screen that's visible the whole time that shows you like, this is how much time you're going to have until the effects don't, or until the effects run out, which is obviously very helpful. Ryan says, do you recommend increasing hearts or stamina? Yeah, like I said, hearts and stamina are definitely important. And there are, oh, here's something. Let me double check again. I can't talk about that. But yes, getting man, I want to talk about that. Getting hearts and stamina is very important because, like I said multiple times now, enemies are going to kick your ass. Python XZ said something and then it disappeared. Have you found any metal platforms which you can use magnesis on? If so, have you tried to use magnesis while standing on the platform? Well, this is a wonderful question because I have a great story about this. Oh, Mitchy Mouse, I see your question. I'm going to answer it really quickly. I'm not ignoring this chat. Mitchy Mouse, have I seen cuckoos yet? Yes, I have. I've seen cuckoos, but they look very different. All right, so obviously they look like chickens, but they're real. This is going to sound so dumb. They're like real fancy. They're not like the white ones that you'd expect. They're like brown with like golden arms and like a big red crest and like bluish tinted wings. So yes, I've seen them, and I picked one up and I flew around with it. So that's still in there. What the hell was I talking about here? Oh, metal, magnesis. Again, let me check. Okay, so magnesis, that's the ability where obviously you have Magneto, master of magnet. You have the magnet thing, and it shoots out like a ball of magnet, a ball of excuse me, magnetic power. You shoot that out. So when you're looking around in an area, you'll see like it has like a red wave that like covers the whole room, and everything's like covered in red wavy stuff. But when you highlight something that can be picked up with magnesis, it turns yellow. So that's how you know what you can grab. Timothy, you're right. You're 100% right. So you can pick those things up and move them around and throw them through the air. And that can be done with joystick, or that can be done with motion controls. Motion controls gets the job done much quicker. But okay, so there's big metal slabs in the game. You can stand on them, but if you go to pick them up while you're standing on them, you can't pick them up. It doesn't work. And there are the hell was I going to say? Oh, there's metal boxes, which I didn't find this out until later in the game because I'm dumb. So there's metal boxes that you can use magnesis on to pick up and move around. And I'm like, oh, okay. You can, you know, build things with these to use to climb up on stuff. And like I threw one up in the air and it hit the ground, and that was that. And I swear to God, I went so long without knowing that if you throw them high enough in the air, or if you throw them with enough force, they actually break open. or you can throw a bomb at them and break them open. And there's things in them. You think, like, playing 30 years of Zelda games, I would have thought, like, oh, maybe there's something inside that box. But I didn't. Wooden boxes, I'm like, yeah, of course there's stuff in there. But these metal boxes will sometimes have stuff in them, and they've had all kinds of stuff. I found fish. I found rupees. I found weapons. I found apples. Like, one of them was filled with, like, 10 apples. So you can do that. And then this leads to the funny story. So I was using magnesis, and there's some treasure chests you can pick up. And I was like, I wonder if you pick up a treasure chest and use magnesis and put it like way up in the air above Link and drop it. If it hits Link in the head, he'll die. Yeah, he dies. It happens. I've done it with the treasure chests, and I did it with the big metal slabs where I just held them in the air and ran underneath them as they were dropping. And yeah, it kills you right away. So if you want to know dumb ways to die, I got you covered. What is the purpose of the Kurok seeds? I think that might be one I can't talk about. I'm sorry to keep pausing and checking back to this, but I want to follow the rules. I don't believe I can talk about that. I am sorry. I apologize. I'll do another quick check. Yeah, I don't think I can talk about that. I am sorry. I hate when you guys ask a question and I can't answer it. I feel bad, but less than a week I'll be able to answer stuff. But again, like I said, my review is not going to be spoiler. I promise my review is not going to be spoiler. Vanguardian Tales says, do you recommend a Joy-Con grip for long play sessions? As I'm only picking up Super Bomberman R to play with my girlfriend, Zelda, and Nobunaga's Ambition. And then the comment disappeared. Should I wait it out or get a Pro controller? So, I obviously only have Zelda. And I've been playing Zelda with the Joy-Con grip. Because when I first sat down, to play, I was doing Joy-Cons in each hand. But as I got more into Zelda, I realized, like, I should have brought the Joy-Cons downstairs to, like, show while I'm talking. I apologize. As you're playing Zelda, you learn, obviously, like any other game, what buttons do what. And it uses all the buttons a lot, like a lot. So when you're playing Joy-Cons and, like, you're walking with Link this way with this Joy-Con and you're turning with this Joy-Con, and then, like, you need to shift your thumb down to switch arrows or swords or whatever, stuff like that. The shifting of the thumb, this is for me, I don't know if this is for everybody, but the shifting of my thumb when I'm playing with the Joy-Con, since it's small, it reseats the controller wrong in my hand. It doesn't feel right. It feels like I'm, like, juggling it. So that's why the Joy-Con grip is there. So you slide them in a Joy-Con grip, and then you have the nice handles that rest in your hand. So then your thumb moves around and the controller doesn't. It's the difference of, like, moving the whole controller in your hand or moving just your thumb while you hold the grips. So for me personally, I'm using the grip minus that time in the beginning. I'm using the grip the whole time I play Zelda. And it's super comfortable. I didn't know what to make of the grip before it came out, to tell you the truth. I thought it was nice that they were including it in there, but I was like, I don't know if I'm going to use it. I'm glad it's in there because I'm using it a lot, and I really like it. It's very light. It's got a unique feel. Here's something weird that I don't think anybody has ever talked about, and this could be just because I'm a fat guy. But when I'm playing, your hands get hot or sweaty when you play. I think most people are like that. But I noticed, like, I don't know what material it's made out of, but when I hold it, like, I can feel, like, after playing for, like, a good amount of time, like nearly 2 hours or something like that, towards the end, I can feel the controller, like, grip, like, get, I don't want to say hot, but, like, warm. I'm like, oh, this, I'm heating this thing up. And, like, somebody else took it to play and they're like, wow, this thing's on fire. And again, it's not because the Joy-Cons are making any heat or anything like that. It's literally just the heat of my hands on this grip, because the grip feels different from other controllers. I don't know what it's made out of, but it feels different. So if you're if you're looking for weird information, this is the stream to come to. I see you guys are talking about things. See, I don't know if I should say that. A Black Swan says, anyone know if loot drops and chests are random? Let me think. Because I've played a whole bunch. Then I played on the clip that I did for you guys from the beginning. And then I've seen other people play. I don't know if the chests are different or not. That's a really good question. Boxes are 100% random. That I know for sure. But like, so, you know, encampments, you've seen in the footage, encampments have treasure chests on them that have like a demon face. So they're locked and you have to defeat all the enemies in the area. It gives you a little jingle. Then the treasure chest clicks and you can go open it. And in there will be weapons or items, depending on where you are. So like the starting area is not going to give you anything fancy. Like you'll open a chest and it'll be like 5 arrows or something like that. Oh man, I don't know. I'm going to go back and look at that. I'll purposefully look at that and do 2 different save files to go open chests to see if those chests are random or not. That's a very good question. See, when I do videos or coverage for GoNintendo, I'm like, yep, made a whole list. I think I got everything figured out. Checked everything off. And then like 2 seconds talking to you guys and you're like, can you do this? Can you do that? I'm like, man, I would have never thought of that stuff. All right, Mark D. Payne, I see your question. I am reading it. He says, when the Switch VC launches, what systems what systems do you think they will have games from day one? Me, I'm thinking NES and SNES. I would agree with you because in the press release that they put out for the Switch where they talked about Virtual Console, they mentioned NES and Super Nintendo games. Some of them will have online added. So since they mentioned those 2, I would imagine those 2 would be there at the start. I don't know for sure, but that's just my guess. Can you feed your horse, says Guy Bones. Now, I'm dumb when it comes to games. There's a lot of stuff I miss out on. But I have tried feeding the horse. I've like looked for, so I walked up to his face and like I looked for an option for like feed or something like that. Didn't see anything. I also took out an apple because I'm like, horses love apples. And I dropped it on the ground in front of him. And he didn't want anything to do with it. Does that mean maybe because of his temperament he didn't eat it? Or they don't eat it? I don't know. But I can tell you that a dog walked over and ate it. then the dog wouldn't stop following me around. So every time I go back to this one spot, I make sure to leave some food for the dog. And it gets like little like, it's not hearts, but it's like little, it's like a little pink cloud and you hear like a magical noise. So the dog likes me. Yeah, Randall says they showed feeding the horse during the live stream, but the dog stole the food. So there you go. So I don't know. That's the same thing that happened to me. Maybe dogs are just hungrier than horses in the land of Hyrule. Ryan, I don't know if it's possible to buy games from other regions on the eShop. I believe it is because we're talking region free, but don't quote me on that. Are there any cats, says Mitchy Mouse. Cats. I don't know that I've seen a cat. I don't want to say they're not in there, but if I saw a cat, I would have been like, ooh, a cat. So I don't think I've seen a cat. Mapu says, how surreal is it to get free stuff from Nintendo? Yeah, that's a good point I want to talk about right now because over on YouTube, I'm dealing with a lot of newcomers that don't know about GoNintendo. And over on GoNintendo chat, obviously, I'm dealing with people who know that GoNintendo has been around for a while. So I've been running GoNintendo for 13 years now. And these situations where I get to talk to you about stuff that's not out yet are so surreal to me, even after 13 years, which is why in one of my today's big stories, I made a point to thank you guys over on GoNintendo and you guys over on YouTube. Because without your support, I wouldn't be able to do this stuff. I wouldn't be able to tell you about how I got electrocuted or how I tried to feed a horse. So So it's very, very, it's all, if you've been following GoNintendo.com for years now, you know it's super important to me to thank you guys and to thank you often, because any/all opportunities I get are because of you listening to the podcast, or you visiting the site, or you watching the YouTube content. I've had so many amazing opportunities, and I wish Mom Brain was here because she could attest to it. Getting stuff from Nintendo now is just as exciting as it was when I got the first thing. I act exactly the same way. Mom Brain can tell you, when I heard that the Switch was coming, I had my, so when I'm working in the living room, I'm on my laptop and I have my armchair. I turn my armchair to the window so I could watch to see when the FedEx man came. So I'm going to take this opportunity again to thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. This is a job that randomly happened to me 13 years ago through a series of bad experiences. I didn't get a job somewhere else. Something else I was doing fell apart. And I was like, I'm going to start a blog just while I'm looking for other work. I was going to be a systems analyst. That's what I was going to do. That's what I went to college for. And then I started a blog, and then the blog kind of took off. And those of you that have been on GoNintendo for a long time know when I switched from GoNintendo when I switched from the blogger page to GoNintendo, I did it 2 years without any revenue, and I spent my entire savings running the site. And it came down to the last month. I didn't have money to pay anything anymore. I had sold my entire, so I spent my entire savings and I sold my entire anime collection on top of that to make money to pay for hosting. And then I was at the last month and I was like, man, it's over. And then I met guys that I'm still in contact with now, and they set us up with advertising and stuff like that, and the rest is history. So these opportunities, my entire living, my entire career, and the opportunities that come from Nintendo and other companies are because of you guys. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I know this is about Zelda and Switch, but that stuff's important to me. I want to get that out there to you. So thank you. Ryan says, are the frame rate drops as big an issue? I'm hoping they're not. I really don't think they are. Like I said, I've had 2 instances where there were frame rate drops. The one that Andre showed in that video, he did the the TV Game Explain. I should say Game Explain. The one that Game Explain did, where they showed the TV docked mode and the handheld mode, and they showed that area right in the beginning where I noticed it as well, and that gave me concern for the whole game. But I haven't had that experience. And again, the frame rate drop is quick and didn't hinder my experience at all. Like, I don't have a frame rate counter on the screen. I'm not like, oh, it's at, 30 frames per second. Oh, it's at 25, whatever. But, you've played plenty of games where it chugs, like Wind Waker chugs at certain parts. I haven't experienced the level of original Wind Waker. I haven't experienced the level of Wind Waker chug in Breath of the Wild. So maybe that gives you some better idea of how the frame rate is. But yeah, nothing at all that has hindered my gameplay, even in the least. And what I did experience was momentary, like 2 seconds, maybe. Not even that. And I know some people hearing this are going to be like, Nintendo apologists, they don't care about frame rates. I'm telling you my honest experience. I haven't been everywhere. There could be spots where the frame rate really chugs, and in my review, I'll tell you about that. But as of right now, frame rate has not been an issue for me. Blake Morris, if you want to get into the IRC, go to GoNintendo.com, and there should be a link at the top of the page for it. Dan Ducker says, have you had any instances where you lose control when walking? No Joy-Con issues at all. Hasn't happened to me. Mike Jacob Epps says, 29 frames per second, pre-order canceled. Randall says, have I managed to make any meals with something that shouldn't be edible? No, like I said, I just made dubious food, but that was with food items. It's just stuff you shouldn't combine together. I wish I could remember what I put in there. It was literally like a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and it came out garbage. Samuel says, can you craft items from the material you pick up from enemies and find around the world? Let me look at my sheet. It depends on what you like. You can make elixirs. Do those count as items? Willie, I did talk about the wildlife in the game. I talked about what I have seen so far. To point out, like Miyamoto, which you guys might know from one of his interviews, he said, like, my favorite thing to do in the game is watch where the wildlife go. I look up at the birds and I'm like, I wonder where they're off to. It's fun to watch what the animals are doing because they definitely have their own life and they wander around and they climb trees and all kinds of interesting stuff. That's a really great point about Steins. I couldn't answer that even if I knew the answer, but I don't know the answer, so that's why I'm not answering it. I can't. I don't even need to look at this. I do not know if it's in the game, but I'm sure if it was, I couldn't talk about it. What animals climb trees? The lizards. That was Randall. The lizards climb trees, and obviously, so they'll like scurry away and climb up a tree and hide, or like you might see them hanging on a tree off in a distance. Nightlife other than the owl you talked about. Well, yeah, like lightning bugs. Those are only out at night, obviously. Oh, and well, they're not bats, but they're geese. So you don't really see geese. I don't know if you see geese during the day. I think you see them towards the end of the day and then obviously at night. Ethan says, do you ever find a constant changing of weapons irritating, or does it simply add to the experience? I will say it's something you have to get used to at first because obviously it's very different for Zelda games. You're used to having your one sword and then a supplementary weapon like bow and arrow or something like that. So it's definitely a big change. And when you first start out, you're like, hey, I got a stick and I got like a bokoblin spear. And those break right away. So you fill up your inventory with whatever weapons you can get, and you know you're full of sticks and garbage weapons. But the more that quickly remedies itself, like within like the first. Well, I guess it won't be quick. It's depending on what you do. But if you follow the path that I'm sure many people will follow, you'll have better weapons within the first 20 minutes of the game. Like all you got to do is beat up a couple enemies, and somebody will drop a club. Or somebody will drop a better spear, and then you're good to go. Now, the changing of the weapons, yeah, that's just like second nature for me. The only time where it might be an issue, and it all comes down to you paying attention to what's going on. Because when you're playing, the game will always tell you your weapon's badly damaged. And if you look at it on the menu, it'll show you it like blinking red. So you're like, oh, I better switch to something else really soon. So if you're in a heated battle and that comes up, here's my hint. Switch to a different weapon, because I've been in some instances where I was fighting big enemies and it told me your weapon's going to break. And I'm like, I could get a couple more hits out of it. And you do that and the weapon breaks and then like the enemy lunges at you and you're like, I don't know what to do. And so you're like running away and trying to get out a new weapon and stuff like that. So you can put yourself in a nasty situation, but as long as you stay on top of your weapon management, you should be fine. Leaf Storm Blaze says, have you seen CNET's stupid kickstand video? Do you have thoughts on it? I do, Leaf, and I'm going to do a talking or either talking points or a rebuttal on it. And I'm not playing my hand here. I'm not showing my cards because I can't wait to do it because that video is something else, man. If you haven't seen that video, CNET did a video for the Switch where they show off the kickstand. And that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil what I'm going to do. But I watched the video today and I'm like, oh, man, I got to make a rebuttal video for this. Can your weapons get repaired, says Cameron and Spectre. I don't know if I can talk about that. I'm going to stay on the safe side and say I can't talk about that. Now, I want to stress this. Just saying I can't talk about it doesn't mean that it's true, because I know people are like, you can't talk about it, confirmed. It just means the way that this is written, there are things I can't talk about. So I apologize. Rocket, if you look, if you go to CNET on YouTube, you should be able to find their. Just type in like CNET Switch kickstand on YouTube, and I'm sure you'll find it. Music. Was there a conversation about music? I thought I saw something about music. Yeah, music in the game. So, oh, I can't. Well, this is okay. Talk about the final boss. Yeah, Majestic. Let's talk about it. Let me. I want to see if I. Well, I won't risk it. Right here on the embargo, it says, "Do not talk about the final boss." So I can't talk about it. But I guess by not talking about it, I've talked about it. Music in the game, yeah. So this game is very. Thank you, Cowboy. Music in the game, depending on what you're doing, is very few and far between. Like if you stuck to main storyline, you'll still hear music. Obviously, there's going to be a lot less music than you're used to in Zelda games. But if you're doing what I did, which was lots and lots and lots and lots of exploration off the bat, just go wherever I want, then yeah, like 75% of my time was ambient noise. So you hear the animals around you, you hear the wind, or as some might say, the breath of the wild. And you hear, like, you know, monsters making noises and stuff like that. Obviously stuff like rain and all that. So yeah, it's very quiet. And me personally, I'm torn because I really like the music in Zelda. Music's been a huge part of Zelda games, obviously. But I also really like the atmospheric ambient approach. And like I said in my video preview, it gives me a Minecraft vibe. So I'm torn because when I do hear music, it's great, but there's not a ton of music. So what I can say is I really enjoy the way, like, it makes you feel more like you're there. It puts you more in the atmosphere of the game. But at the same time, you know, music is a big part of Zelda. So again, there is music here. And what is here is great, and there's stuff I can't talk about related to music. But yeah, I don't know which way to go. I don't know if it's a positive or a negative. Like it just is. But I could certainly see some people being like, the game is too quiet. I miss, you know, grand themes. Like every other Zelda game had music everywhere you went. How often did you go somewhere where they had absolutely nothing playing? So this is a very big change for that. So that's one point where I could see people really differing. And for me, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying I like both. Which one do I like better? I don't know. I can't tell you that. It's weird. I'd have to be like, I need to hear music in this version, but you don't hear music all the time. People really want to know about this deer. I have not tried to mount a deer. Oh yeah, so that's what I was going to say. So there is lots. When you do hear music, there's lots of piano music. There's lots of piano themes, but they have other things mixed in with the piano themes. So like, you guys obviously know that like technology is a part of this game through the Sheikah Slate and stuff like that. So some of the songs have like, it'll be piano with like, I don't know how to put it, like computerish sounds. I don't know, it's like the two of them mesh together. So it's an interesting feel. And then when you're riding on your horse, this is one of the things I really like. When you're riding on your horse, as you gain more speed and you ride longer, a song fades in while you're playing, and then when you stop, it fades out. But it's okay. If you go watch the original Switch video, the first debut trailer for the Switch, when that guy is playing the Switch and he's playing Zelda in his house, that little jingle, like that little bit of music you hear in the beginning, that's part of what you hear when you're riding your horse. And the horse music intersperses, I guess I'll call it remix versions of traditional Zelda songs. So you'll hear a couple different ones in there. It's not the same one all the time. I don't know if it changes based on where you are or they're just randomly played when you're riding a horse. But there's themes in there that you'll recognize, and I don't want to spoil them because it's really cool. You'll be riding along and you'll hear like whatever you think is the central theme. And then as you go on and on, you're like, oh, this is that song just played really differently or slowed down a lot. Kind of like you saw in one of the earlier videos where we heard, we posted on GoNintendo, the Temple of Time song is in the game, just slowed really, really, really down. Hylian says, can you obtain this? Can you obtain the special items you get from amiibos without using amiibos? It's random, right? I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. The thing is, you just plop the amiibo down, and it's like, boop, here you go. Here's this, that, and the other thing, and you can randomly find those. I believe, yeah, because like I can't talk about the amiibo specific to Breath of the Wild, but I can talk about the other, Zelda amiibo. Yeah, because you get like fish, meat. Then there's other items. I know Game Explain showed off amiibo scanning, and they had an item pop up that they weren't allowed to talk about. But yeah, I don't think you can. I don't think there's things that you get from the amiibo that you can't get anywhere else. How is the sound quality from the Switch speaker? Says Danny. That's a good idea for video. Compare the gamepad sound to the Switch speaker sound. I'm not like an audiophile or anything. It sounds good to me. I mean, I didn't notice it sounding tinny or anything like that. The speakers aren't huge, and it's not like you're going to get like ass-shaking bass out of the Switch speakers. But yeah, they're fine. Plus, you got the headphone jack there, so you just plug that in if you want. Or I guess you could plug in external speakers through the headphone jack. That's something interesting too. Oh yeah, Pythons. Or Python XZ. I think I can talk about that. Yeah. All right. I can talk about part of it. So you'll see like flowers, and not the flower that's in the screen. We're not talking about like the one that was in the trailer, the special flower or anything like that. You'll see yellow flowers, or like tall yellow flowers. And you go to walk up to them, and they disappear. So you see them disappear, and then you'll hear them appear somewhere else. So you have to look around and find them. That's all I'm saying. I think that's all I can say, but that's all I'm saying. So certain flowers disappear, reappear somewhere else in the local area, and you have to find them. And when you find them enough times, that's all I can say. Mega Jacob F says, do you miss the grooves in the back of the Wii U gamepad, or is the Switch comfortable as is? To tell you the truth, I need to put more time into playing handheld mode. I have played handheld mode, and I put in some time with it, but I haven't put in a ton of time with it. So I can't tell you comfort levels yet. But every time I play it, I haven't had any concerns or issues or anything. And other people that have played with it in that mode have been really surprised with how comfortable it is. Like, that's not me saying, I looked at them and they thought it was comfortable. That's them purposefully telling me, like, wow, this is a lot lighter or more comfortable than I expected it to be. So that's what I can tell you. But personal opinion, I cannot. When this game comes out, and I can show whatever I want, I'm just going to do 24 hours of deer footage, because clearly the deer is very important to people. What time are we at here? I guess I'm going to leave this show at that. I'll take a couple more questions, but I'm not going to tell you. So normally, if you don't watch the podcast, normally after the news, we go into a discussion about what we played this week. But you know what I played, because I've been talking about it. It's the only thing I've played. And then we do music trivia, but no one's here, so I can't do that. So yeah, I guess I'm just going to answer a couple more questions, and then I'll call it a day. What is this? The Itchinator says, have you encountered Beetle in the game? If so, does he sell special items that are hard to come across? Let me consult my sheet. Sorry, I need to. I I know this is stupid because I know you guys have watched footage and seen things from Nintendo. Well, I'm going to err on the side of caution here based on something it specifically says and not talk about that. Again, I apologize. I know what you guys have seen from official releases from Nintendo, including artwork, but I'm going to err on the side of caution. Blake Morris says, how is motion control handled if you have a Joy-Con in both hands? How is motion control handled if you have a Joy-Con in both? Oh, he says it over and over and over and over again. That's a good question. Because like I said, I switched from I switched from separate Joy-Cons to grip controller fairly early on. So I would have to try that again. And now I'm really curious. How does that work? Well, let's see. Let me think. If I had to guess it, yeah, what does it do? That's a good question. What does it do? Because like if you're moving one, say you're aiming the bow and arrow, you're moving one and then you're moving the other because, you know, in a Joy-Con grip, you're moving both at the same time. So if you're only moving one, I wonder. I'm going to try that out and I'll get back to you. Very cool. Michael says, do trees and animals respawn after killing them? Or taking them down? Okay, so as far as what I can tell you, some trees do, yes. And I watched somebody almost chop down a tree last night and then leave to go do something else. And when they came back, the tree had regenerated where it was cut. So I can tell you that. Enemies respawning. So again, I've been all over the place. I don't believe enemies respawn. Because any encampments that I've cleared, there haven't been enemies back there. I can't remember an instance where that's happened. I have seen enemies in areas before where I didn't see them before. That might be few and far between, but I have seen that happen. But yeah, once you clear out an encampment with like a treasure chest or something like that, I don't believe they come back. Is there any bug collecting in the game? Well, there are bugs, and you can catch bugs. And that's all I can say. Hold on one second. I apologize. All right. If you've played Fallout 4, and I have, how small is it in comparison? Hylian says. Breath of the Wild is the biggest game I've ever played. And Fallout, I have not gone everywhere, but I did go all over the place. Yeah, we've seen the stuff that came out before hands-on impressions with the final game came out. But we've seen the things that says Zelda is bigger than Fallout. It's massive. It's so huge. There are so many times where I walk on the top of a mountain or on a bridge or something. I just look around and I'm like, this is unbelievable. And when I wandered forever and then looked at the map, I was like, man, it looks like I haven't gone anywhere. Because you look at the overall map and it's like, you know, I felt like I was walking around forever. So I started up here and I was down here. I'm like, that's like nothing. And then you zoom in and then you zoom in and then you zoom in and you're like, oh, this is really big. Strategy, I don't know official numbers, but I believe Breath of the Wild's bigger than Xenoblade. Yeah, I believe it is. Mitchy Mouse, I don't think I can answer that. I can't give specific information on how many provinces I've visited. I've been all over. Palmer says, make a second YouTube channel for deer footage. Yep, gonna do it. That's all we're doing. This is a great question. Nick says, do you feel as if the game is too big? Too big. No, I don't. But I can tell you earlier on in the game, it is, what's the word? There's a word and I'm an idiot. Oh, what's that word? This is not like a weird word. I'm just having a brain fart. Intimidating. I couldn't think of that word. when I was playing earlier on, and you know, you're on the Great Plateau, and you just look at the Great Plateau and everything around you, like you get up and you see how far things go, and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to do any of this? Like, it's huge. It's very intimidating. It's still intimidating now. Overwhelming is a good word too, Michael. It's very intimidating, but I'm telling you right off the bat, you have to be prepared for that. Like, you have to be prepared for this to be unlike any other Zelda game ever, because there is so much to see and do, so many places to go. The exploration of the game is a huge part of the fun. Now, if you're like, I want a more regimented point A to point B Zelda game, that's in here for you. Just stick to the story. Don't go out and explore. Don't do any, like, if that intimidates you too much, then don't do it. You don't have to. You never have to stray from the main path. So you can get your updates, and your main quest will be like, go here. Then you go there. Don't stray from the path. Just go. Just go. Just do. You can play this like a traditional Zelda game if you want. So you have your objectives and you fulfill them, and that's that. But for me, when I'm playing, I want, like, you're riding a horse or walking somewhere, and you're like, ooh, what's that over there? Or, ooh, what's that thing I see up there? Or, oh, I wonder what's behind that mountain. That's how I play. And then, like, 8 billion hours later, I'm like, oh, what's over here? I'm still going. That's how I play. But yeah, it's going to be intimidating, without a doubt. It will be intimidating, and you'll have a moment when you play where you're taking on whatever task and you're like, holy crap, this is a lot. But when that gets to you, like when you have that feeling and you're like, there's too much for me to do, scrap all that stuff, go to the main story. You'll get your main story fill, and then eventually you'll be like, I feel like exploring again, and then that whole world's there for you to do. What are the world borders like, Dr. Sir asks. I can't talk about that. I'm sorry, my friend, but I cannot. How many hours do you expect one may spend playing this game in total on average? Ethan, that is going to be a number that ranges so ridiculously widely that I don't think I can give an answer. I'm gonna talk to Game Explain about this. When our reviews come out, I'm going to see if he has any idea of how long it would take. Like, if you were only doing main storyline stuff, how long the game would take you. Not that I know Nintendo has said, like, you can go right for the final boss. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, if you fulfill all the main story quest points from beginning to end, how long the game would take you. I have no idea right now. I don't. But I'll talk to him and see if we can figure something out together. You could spend hundreds of hours in this game easily. Very easily. I have no doubt about that at all. I feel 100% certain that you can easily put over 100 hours in this game. And if you're not using a guide and you're wandering around on your own, you're going to be out there for a long time. Is the combat satisfying, says Nick. It's another great one. Yeah, the combat's really satisfying. So it still has that Zelda feel to it, where, you flip and you side dodge and stuff like that. And when you hit an enemy, you get the spark, but you also get that moment hesitation. That's not in a lot of games. It's in Zelda games, and I don't know why it feels good, but it's like the moment of impact. You get a little like a little freeze. I don't know. It feels good. So all that's still in there. But obviously, combat's very different now because you have so many different weapons to use. So, like, somebody I saw earlier was talking about me using the axe. And the reason I was using the axe in the video is because that's one of the decent weapons you can grab right off the bat. It's like right down the hill from where you start. But yeah, so so the axe is two-handed. You can't use a shield while you're swinging the axe. And the axe is very slow, but really powerful. So just the big chop takes Link a long time to attack with. But, and then you can charge that up. You can hold the button to charge down, and you do like a swinging move. So very powerful, but very slow. But then you have things like a tree branch, which is I'm using items I can talk about, so I apologize for them being boring. You can swing that very quickly and do quick successive strikes. Well, I can talk about this. There's the Lazal Boomerang, which I didn't show in the footage, which I'm sure you've seen. Guy, I'll answer that in a minute. The Lazal Boomerang, which you may have seen in other footage, you didn't see in live footage. It's a boomerang, but it's a metal boomerang. So you can walk up to people and hit that like it was a sword. So it's used quickly and one-handed, obviously. But it's not going to be the best for going up and smacking somebody in the face with. So you go back and like throw it at them and hit them for more damage, and it might swoop around and hit somebody else. But the really cool thing is, and I saw our friend, who the hell was talking about this? Andrew Eisen was talking about this on Facebook. He was saying he likes how the fact that when you throw the boomerang, it comes back to Link, but Link doesn't automatically catch it. You have to catch it. So you have to hit a button to catch it. So, like, obviously, nobody knows that at first. He goes, throw it, and I threw it, and it flew behind me, and I was on a cliff. So it fell down into the water, and I was like, well, that's gone. It was the first one I saw, too. Mitchy Mouse says, has the game given you the feels yet? Or just feels? Yeah, but feels I didn't expect. Obviously, I can't talk about story, but the expanse of the world is awe-inspiring. It's humbling. And the overall vibe of the game, just the massiveness of the game and being so free to do what you want and go. Like, I can't stress enough, this is one element that we've known for a long time, but I can't stress how much it changes the game. You can climb like 99% of what's out there, 98%, something like that. Pretty much anything you see, you can climb. And it changes the game so much because you really don't have borders. You can go wherever you want. There might be things that are too tall to climb until you up your stamina or stuff like that. But like, that's part of the fun. Like, anything you see, you can go to and explore. And it's not, you don't need to be like, oh, I need, like it used to be in other games, I need a hook shot to get up there, or I need a leaf to float over there or something like that. You can go. You just go. And that's so much of the fun. Like, when I'm out exploring and I see something way over here, but there's a huge mountain, part of the fun for me is, like, finding ways to climb up things and finding spots where I might be able to stand and catch my breath and regain my stamina, because you can't climb forever. So you're looking for little bits and pieces to just hang out on for a little bit and then trying to figure out. It's like climbing up certain mountains is like a puzzle in and of itself. And some of those mountains have specific platforms on them because you're supposed to climb them. But then other ones are just flat on some parts and steep on others, and you figure out your own way to get up there. It's like a puzzle in and of itself. It's a lot of fun. It's a game changer. That is a big game changer. Raka says, is the stamina gauge annoying? No, I don't find it annoying. I liked it in Skyward Sword, and it's back here. Is it annoying? All I can tell you is I didn't find it annoying. I appreciate it. I never felt it got in my way. And like I said, when you're climbing, you need to let it refill at certain spots. But yeah, it hasn't hindered me to the point where I couldn't get where I wanted to go. It just made me climb smarter. And, you can fall off a mountain 8 different ways, but I'm going to try 9 different ways and make it the 9th time. So I like that. That's fun. I can't talk about that, Waynes. I'm sorry. How many different colors of bokoblins have you seen? Or bokoblins? The weird questions that are not your questions, the weird things I have to look up to see if I can talk about them. I don't know. I don't know if I can talk about it. I'm sorry. I hate giving that answer. Ethan says, I've heard of a parry system of sorts. How exactly does this work? Is it like a perfect guard? So parry is very simply, you have a shield. Right before an enemy hits, you hit the button, whoop, you hit them back, and then it opens them up for an attack. That's it. So what you've seen in other Zelda games. Mayo or Mayoyum. I can't talk about that. I'm sorry. Burnouts. I can't talk about that. I'm sorry. I can't talk about it. I apologize. All right. I feel like here's a good time to stop. Thank you very much to everybody that came in here and asked questions and hung out with me. I really appreciate your time. And like I said earlier, this is not possible without you. So thank you a great deal. If I could have every one of you to the house to play the game right now, I would, but I can't. But you're almost there. March 3rd, you're almost there. To tell you the truth, I am ridiculously excited for you guys. I want to get out there to a midnight launch. I don't know if I'm going to Nintendo NY yet or not, because usually I would, because midnight launches for Nintendo systems are on Saturdays, so into Sunday. But now it's a Thursday into a Friday, so that's rough. I don't know, but I want to get out to something. And, oh, the limes. Yes, you asked about the limes. So, you know, this, well, let me turn the camera. I can't not answer that question. It was asked so many times. So, you know, this guy is an internet meme. There we go. But we've had this picture for years before this was an internet meme. One of the podcast members, Lube, is a manager at Walmart, and they had gotten in displays. So George is a brand of clothing at Walmart. They gotten in displays for George clothing, but this type of display, they didn't have any frame for it at the store. They didn't have a spot to put it. It was sent to them by accident, so they were just going to throw it away. So Lube, the podcast member, gave it to another podcast member, John Savage, and John Savage was like, I can't do anything with this. And I was like, well, I'll take it. So George has been a part of the family for a long time, and then he became a meme. How crazy is that? So there's a story of George. And yes, people say, why can't I hold all these limes? But we like to think maybe the limes are climbing up him and he's being attacked. All right. So I want to go to a midnight opening. That's fun. That stuff is fun to get out there with Nintendo fans and be a part of that. So I hope you guys are going to a midnight launch, or at the very least, I hope you're getting a Switch. And then also people have been asking, yes, 100%. Parents Play Switch games are coming. I've recorded a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Parents Play. I just can't show it to you yet. I'm not allowed to show it until 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. March 2nd at 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in the morning. That's not what. Maybe I'll have it up then. I don't know. But yeah, I can't show it to you yet. And I know the requests for my parents playing 1-2 Switch and snipper clips have been through the roof. 100%. It's happening. They are 100% happening. I guarantee it. I promise you those are happening. I know Parents Play has taken a couple weeks off because I've been busy with this stuff. I have ones recorded that I have to edit. I just haven't had the time. Rocket says that my parents have to study the embargo sheets. I could show it to my mom. My dad would blurt out all the stuff that's on here. But yes, those Parents Play are coming. What else do I have coming? I have the CNET video that it's only in here right now. I haven't done anything with. That's coming. I have a video review for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I promise you again, no spoilers in that. I might have more footage of stuff that you haven't seen, but I'm not going to spoil anything. Well, you know, it's hard to say. Somebody might see like a different type of shield, and it'll be like, that's a spoiler. I'm not going to spoil storylines or significant locations in the game. Like, it'll just be gameplay footage. So that's coming. Ubisoft is sending Just Dance, and I don't know. I can play Dance Dance Revolution, but I don't know if I'm Just Dance. I'm going to do something for it, obviously, and I'm going to cover it, but I might be using someone else to work on that. But it'll be recorded here. And Super Bomberman R is on the way, so I'm going to be doing coverage of that. And then obviously, obviously I'm going to be doing footages, snipper clips, and 1-2 Switch on their own, not just Parents Play stuff. Those will get video reviews and all that too. So what is it? It's this week, right? We're here. Let me just double check. Yeah, next week. That's it. You've made it. You're less than a week Less than a week away from the Switch launch. You made it. You made it. You're there. I know this weekend's going to be hell. I know that feeling. I've been there. But you did it. You made it. You're here. Just hang in there a little bit longer. Thank you, Sarek. I appreciate it. He commented on my unboxing video for the Switch. Yeah, I always try to do something unique for unboxing videos because I know unboxing videos are all over the place. And people, and I'm not knocking those people, but people are like, here's this, here's that. Well, I do that too in my video. But the beginning and the end are very different. I try and do something more entertaining than just an unboxing. And again, I'm not knocking those people. I just know unboxings are a dime a dozen, and I like to do something a little bit different, a little fun. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I have the unboxing video on YouTube. I have the impressions of just the Switch hardware overall, and I have the Breath of the Wild, which is 15 minutes of footage of me playing overlaid with my impressions of the game. So if you want to hear me talk even more about the game and see me playing it and embarrass myself at some parts, you can do that. All right. That's a podcast. We're usually at 1:30. We're at 1:20 right now. I'd buy that for $1. Says Merry Christmas RMC, which is totally apt because I'm wearing a Christmas shirt. A shirt is a shirt is a shirt. I don't care I don't care what it says. I don't care where it came from. If it's free or cheap, I'll wear it. I'm very cheap when it comes to clothing. All right, that's it. We are out of here, my friends. We'll have like a 2-minute after show while I export the audio recording. So we can talk about whatever the hell you want there, not even video game related, anything you want. But thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this solo show. I hope it was informative. And we'll probably have another one like this next week, but about different games. So thanks for joining, and thanks for watching, and thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for oh yes, thank you for 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's nuts. I'm some idiot doing half-assed work on YouTube because that's the best I can do. And you guys like it, so thank you. I really appreciate that. It's very awesome. And I know 10,000 is a drop in the bucket compared to what some other people have, but it means the world to me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you to a long-time GoNintendo fans. Again, GoNintendo, you've been there forever. I've been doing it for 13 years, and some of you have been there since the first day. Even before that, when I was on the blogger page. Thank you very much. All this stuff that's going on, it's because of you. Without your support, I couldn't do it. Thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend. You're almost at the Switch. Stay excited, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody. I know I said goodbye, but that's for the podcast. Now we're on the extra show, the after show. I can't even remember the names of things I've been saying for like 500 episodes. What you do? You asshole. Sorry, I want to make sure. God damn it. I want to make sure this goes right. All right, there you go. All right, we got a couple minutes. Do I like turtles, says Cubus. Sure. I just heard a story. Oh, why am I doing this? I just heard a story about turtles that made me want one. It was some celebrity. I don't remember who. I think it was like Lenny Kravitz's daughter on The Tonight Show, talking about how she was dating some guy, but the guy was kind of just using her to watch his turtle when he went away on trips. And then she became like in love with the turtle. Not, in love. But she loved the turtle. She kept it. I'm like, I kind of want a turtle. Cyric says, I've been a part of GoNintendo since 2006. Well, thank you very much. That's a real long time support right there. I appreciate it. Link Trevor says, RMC, do you remember when you started streaming live? I remember when I started it. Like, I remember that day, but I don't remember when it was. Yeah. I don't remember why I did it. But, yeah, I remember it because I was nervous as hell. I'm a nervous guy. But I think it worked out. Do you prefer upgrading health or stamina, says Blake. Yeah, there's the question, my friend. What do you do? What do you do? Well, this is what I do. I sit there forever, and I'm like, well, if I do stamina, I can get this. But if I do hearts, it'll be good for that. And I sit there, and I go back and forth, and pros and cons. And then eventually I'm like, I'll just start with one and then do the other next time and go back and forth because I'm boring. So that's what I do. So there's your answer. What's your favorite way to use the Switch right now? Says Jordan. Well, whenever I play games on a portable, like when I play games on a 3DS, which is a fair amount, I have fun and I enjoy them. But then I'm like, man, I wish I could play this on a TV just so I could sit a little more comfortably. So I prefer on TV. So, and plus I'm working on GoNintendo. This is not a joke. I wake up and the first thing I do, sometimes even before I go to the bathroom, is just start working on GoNintendo. And I do GoNintendo work until I go to bed. So I'm not like really leaving the house too often. And when I do, I don't want to like play games. I want to, go out to a restaurant or see friends or something like that. So I'm not really out and about too much. So I don't play portable. And if I'm sitting in my own house, I'm going to sit in front of the TV rather than sit on the portable screen. So that's just me. Federofo says, no word on Snipperclip's Joy-Con bundle in the U.S. That is right, my friend. No word right now. That'd be light and lovely to have here. But here's a question. Is that Joy-Con? I don't know off the top of my head. Is that Joy-Con bundle with Snipperclips the same price as just the Joy-Cons? Because if it is, that's a hell of a deal. If somebody can answer that, that would be great. Roth says a question I've been waiting to talk about. Thoughts on the John Cena cross promotion? I said this in my today's big story. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I'm a huge WWE fan. So in my video, I said I'm a huge professional wrestling fan. And somebody was like, huh, professional wrestling. Yeah, I know. It's called professional wrestling. They're professionals at fake wrestling. That's what it's called. I had a friend over the morning that Nintendo announced that they were working with John Cena, and I was like, this is the greatest day of my life. Nintendo and WWE combined. Oh, man, do I wish I could have gone out to that event. What I wouldn't have given to play 1-2 Switch with John Cena. Man, like I said in my other video, John Cena's character in wrestling is like, like always the good guy, hardly ever loses, and when he does lose, it's not his fault. I mean, there's instances to prove that wrong, but he's very much like the Hulk Hogan of today, like, except Hogan turned bad, and Cena hasn't. He's just, I think he's great on the microphone. I think he has some decent wrestling ability. I just don't care for his character. But Cena in real life, I absolutely love the guy. He everything I know about him, he's super friendly, seems to be very funny, very kind and humble. And then on top of that, he does so much for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He has granted the most wishes for the Make-A-Wish Foundation out of anybody else. So, I mean, those points all together, I can't not respect the guy. So, and plus I'm a huge WWE fan, so if I got to go just play 1-2 Switch with John Cena, oh my God. Oh man, that would have been so awesome. Can you ride a bull in real life? Sure, why not? Ron says, I would have liked Hulk Hogan in an 80s or 90s style commercial, but Cena's for current generation. Yeah, that would be fun. You guys want to know so much about riding animals in Zelda. When I go play next time, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find every goddamn animal I can get and see if I can ride it. I'm going to try birds. I'm going to try lizards. I'm going to try fish. I'm trying them all. G-Vencer says, could I take on John Cena? Oh, no. See, here's the thing. John Cena has muscles. Let's put it this way. John Cena has a six-pack, and I have a keg. So I don't think we would go well against each other. Now, if we're fighting each other in WWE, then I stand a shot because it's all about what they write as the ending. So, yeah, I could beat him, no problem. I could be in one hand behind my back. Real life, I'd be dead. One punch and I'd be dead, I think. Give into the sin. I can't talk about that. I'm sorry. Beard whip. Yes, that's my finishing move in WWE. All right, the show's done exporting, my friends. Thanks for staying for this little Cedar says, why is the podcast so terrible? Because you're watching it. Thanks for all of you that spent the time here for the whole show and the after show. I had a lot of fun. I like solo shows. They're always fun to do. But next week we should have a more regular crew back to that. Sorry about the hiccup in the beginning again. But that's a podcast. That's GN Podcast 602. We'll be back next week with 603. Excuse me. Have a lovely weekend. Play some games. Have some fun. Hang out with friends. Take it easy. Take a nap. Go outside. Do whatever makes you happy. And I'll see you again in 7 days. So have a lovely day. And I'll catch you later.